suffering, they'll pass through these practices. As in, some of them they can't even stay out, but they'll pass through a lot. But anyway, Prudence, you run the Justice for Children, yeah?
Yeah.
So what does it actually do, and how does it help children?
Well, the Justice for Children program is an initiative of JELOS, that is the Justice Law and Order Sector. It is funded by UNICEF Uganda and is implemented by the Center for Justice Studies and Innovations, where I work. So what we do is we try to help all children in contact with the law. And by that I mean every child who comes into contact. It doesn't only have to be the children who have committed offenses are in conflict with the law, but we're talking about children whose parents are in prison. For example, when Vivian tells you the story and Peter tells you the story, we're talking about children who come to court as witnesses, children who come to court because they are victims of a crime. We're talking about, all manners of children who just get into contact with the system. So what we try to do is to make sure that the rights of those children are respected by the justice actors, by the law and order actors. And that is what we do. Make sure we have like a child-friendly center within the court setting where a child is coming to give evidence in court, goes through that center, is given some kind of refreshments, counseling, so they know what the court process is about. For the children who are in conflict with the law, like those in the remand home, we organize with other organizations, and then we ensure that these children actually get some kind of legal counseling, so that by the time they go to court, they know what offenses they charged with, and they know all that. We also visit the children in detention center and make sure their rights are respected. For example, we have the police are supposed to hold children for only 24 hours. And if the case is not serious, they're supposed to immediately caution the child and release the child. But sometimes that does not happen. You find children staying in the police cells for 1 week, for 1 month. And those are the things that we work with. We try and make sure that the police do not keep children beyond the statutory limit period. We make sure that when the children come there, they get the right counseling. There's a fit person assigned to them. When children appear before court and they want bail, we make sure that we get maybe a local counselor or somebody from their village to come and stand surety for them. So we work with all the children who come into contact with the justice system.
So how do you know that these children are not the ones committing the crime, or they're the victims, because there is help, yeah? What is the help available for these children if they've been found victims?
Okay, what happens is that when a victim, for example, in cases of defilement, which is really an offense against children, if that happens and the case is reported, then we know that there's a victim somewhere. Sometimes it's the victim herself, the child who may come to report, sometimes it's the parent. But there are lots of things a child needs. They will need medical help, they will need, psychosocial help, they need lots of things. So we are there for them. When the case is reported, we make sure that the children get that kind of help. And then in addition to that, I think what we also try to do is to make sure that these cases are prosecuted immediately. You know what they say, that justice delayed is justice denied. So sometimes somebody is arrested because that person has to file the child. The person goes to prison for like 3 years. The child has grown up, lost interest in the case. So what we do is we fast track those cases, make sure those cases are heard immediately and the victim receives justice.
But there is this personal question I've always wanted to ask.
Yes, go ahead.
There are these kids whereby they run away from their parents. Yeah, parents, you won't know that they've run away from them. They'll come as street kids, they're in the streets looking, looking for a living and everything. So all in all, you go helping that kid, but the parents are there. The parents are looking for that kid. What do you do for such a kid?
Yeah, thank you, Sasha. Adding to what Prudence has explained, we have push and pull factors that, for example, bring children to the streets. And as it was really clearly elaborated as we looked at the feature there, some of these children have parents, according to research. So what happens is that as we get these children and withdraw them from the streets, because currently there is that intervention, government ensures that children are removed from the streets and reintegrated. But within that period, there is a screening process that takes place, so that those who are identified like having parents are taken back to the families. Then those back to the communities, maybe like in Karamoja, are reintegrated, taken back to the communities. So the issue here is that some of the children actually are seen as those who are beyond control. And this is, I think, a message we want to put out clearly, that children should also ensure that they have to address their obligations. They have responsibilities. So there are some children who run away, as you put it right, and go to the streets. This should also stop, because they are supposed to be back in the families and go to school. So what happens is that we identify these children, those who are there really because of like the nature, maybe they are orphans, have to be catered for back to the communities, because the family as a unit is the most important area of scope where a children should grow up in a better placed way of living. So that is the situation, but it's not say that all the children are there by virtue of being really helpless.
And also these children, I just heard that when they are taken away from the streets, where they are taken, they have to be first caned in order to be taken, like to be catered for, you know. They have to cane them first, and then ask them what, you know, B and A, what. So all in all, it causes them to run away again and go back to the street. What do you say about
No,
that?
I don't think that one, maybe it's an
It
allegation,
was
but
from
I've
the
been,
children
for
themselves.
example, we've gone to Kampringisa, National Rehabilitation Center, and the children there actually are not even mixed up with those with the juvenile cases, ensuring that the other ones are being rehabilitated, but these are also given a separate section. The caning, I didn't really see it. Maybe these are from Sasha. But again, the issue is that the problem is that the parents try to follow up, and you know, by the principles of the best interest of the child, when you go to Kampringisa, it's not supposed to be fenced. So at times there is that possibility of a child running off and going back to the streets. But the message is that we need to ensure that the children are given maximum rehabilitation services, then they are reintegrated back to the communities.